The FCS College Football Experience SoCon 2023 season preview and picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content, and contest, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize up for grabs. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app to get last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. Use the promo code SGPN use the promo code CFBX for $20 off. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Brock Purdy from Iowa State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the College Football Experience, the FCS College Football Experience, SoCon, a little Southern Comfort 2023 season preview. I love the SoCon. When it comes to college basketball, when it comes to college football, the SoCon is one of my favorite conferences in all the land. All right? So I'm excited to break this down. I think I got some surprises. I think I got some stuff up my sleeve regarding this 2023 season. Now, with all that said and done, you're probably wondering, hey, who the hell am I listening to? Well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. I would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
We are talking SoCon football. I love the SoCon basketball, football, baseball. Subscribe to all of our feeds because we cover it all here. But we're talking about a conference with the likes of Furman, Mercer, VMI, Wofford, the Citadel, East Tennessee State, Chattanooga, Western Carolina, Samford. It's just a beautiful conference. And you better believe I'm here to talk about it all. And I'm joined by my co-host. They call him the Gulf Coast Guru. His house might have got struck by lightning today. But that's okay. That's okay. That's how he's giving out so many winners that his fucking house is getting struck by lightning. Give it up for Mike Rose, a.k.a. the Gulf Coast Guru. How you doing, brother?
Brother, what is up? My favorite episode of the college experience of all time was when Patty C was recording live from Afghanistan. And that's what I feel like right now, shooting on my cell phone. Little weird, little strange. Apparently my TV, my laptop, and my phone charging cable got struck by lightning. So that's pretty awesome. But hey, we're going to power through it. We're going to get it done. Let's do it.
There you go, folks. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. And look, this, I know you're going from your phone, but fuck it, dude. This looks way better than when Patty C was in a cave in Afghanistan. Well, buddy, another conference to preview here, and I know you sent me a text earlier in the week saying, I think I'm going chalk in the SoCon, right? Which is fair, but I am excited. I honestly love watching this conference. Like, it's one of my favorite. Like, I go out of my way to watch a lot of teams here in the SoCon. So, I think it's going to be a very good conference this year. I think I'm very excited about the possibilities within this conference. So talk to me before we dive into, the 9th ranked team in the SoCon. What'd you make of this whole conference?
I mean, it's an awesome conference to dive into. I think a lot of the teams are kind of on the same playing field, barring a few. So I think there's some electric offenses. I think you got one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country in this conference, and that's not a hot take, but and there's a couple new coaches popping into teams that have been struggling that I think could maybe turn things around. So very interesting conference. I'm excited to dig into it, and I'm excited to see how pick Dundee is going to be different than the experts because you always got a rabbit in the hat. So let's do it.
Oh yeah, and I got one for this conference, buddy. Now I don't know, it might not be Super Bowl, but it's going to be a little bit bolder than perhaps some are thinking.
Is Weehawk going to be excited?
Yes.
I had a feeling.
Shout out to Weehawk because I'm very bullish on a certain team out there. Folks, before we do all that, we're going to get to our pecking order, but I want to tell you that the FCS College Football Experience is brought to you by the Game Time app. Yes, look, buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be that stressful, all right? Maybe you're out there like Weehawk and you're just walking your dog through Western Carolina's stadium. You know what I mean? Like a dog, he takes his dog on a walk, and he's like showing me photos of practice. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like Rudy when he's running through the tunnel, right? You can just, but no, I mean, point is, look, he's connected to the Catamounts. Now I'm not. If I have to go to a game, it might be a hot ticket and hard for me to get. So, buying tickets to your favorite event should not be that stressful. And Game Time is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater that is near you, with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, which we'll talk about in a second. You can stop essentially stressing out about buying the tickets and start getting hyped for all the fun you're going to be having at these SoCon games. Forget planning months in advance. That never works out, all right? Divorce rate's at like a fucking 55% all-time high. That's because people aren't just getting married on the whim, all right, if you ask me, all right? I don't know what I'm talking about. But, look, I do know that Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, and you can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And this is what I'm talking about here. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create an account. Redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And also, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time. All right, we are back on the FCS College Football Experience SoCon preview. And let's just jump into this thing. Team 9. There are 9 teams. And in case, maybe you're just getting into the FCS because you're seeing all this bullshit happening in the FBS. Seeing, you look at the schedule for Oregon next year and you're like, at Rutgers? What? Right? And a conference game at Rutgers? No, jump on over to the SoCon where things are still regional. FCS college football, baby. So there's 3 possible candidates, I think, for the 9th team in this conference. I did go chalk, I think, with what people are expecting. And I went with VMI. What did you do at number 9?
Yeah, unfortunately for them, I went with VMI as well. A lot of new things going on here. Not a great year last year.
Love the hire with Danny Rocco.
Same.
It's just from a philosophical point of view, Danny Rocco obviously coached at Delaware, coached at Richmond. Now, Delaware, they were not the best offensive unit, and they were an awesome defensive unit. But you got to remember, VMI was just running the air raid. So they're ditching the air raid, going to a balanced attack, and obviously from a defensive standpoint, major shifts in defensive philosophy. They had a slew of players hit the portal. It's hard to really project this team to not be 9th because I do believe Danny Rocco is a damn good coach, and maybe he can do more in the portal. Danny Rocco was also at Liberty back in the day.
Mhm.
And look, they return a couple offensive linemen, Tyreek Poindexter, Will Reed. But they just lose a ton. Rashad Raymond probably will have a big season, but I don't know. What do you make of this VMI Keydets squad?
Yeah, same as you, man. Really tough to find the players here that are going to be playing. It's going to be a call-in a quarterback, either Ironside or Shannon. Both of them, little bit of experience. Nothing really crazy, though. So it's looking to me like it's going to kind of be one of those. You hit Rashad Raymond. Hunter Rice also returns at running back, but a lot of players gone. You got a couple good ones back. Linebacker Evan Eller, 81 tackles and 2 fumbles recovered last year. Christian Dunn, 4.5 sacks. They're both back. So the linebacking crew's looking pretty good. It's tough to dig some things up on this one. So, schedule also kind of tough.
Yeah, let's jump into that schedule. A year ago, they were 1-10. A couple of years ago, when they had the spring season, VMI was good. Now, last season, things just kind of fell apart. And college football, wasn't the same without my Keydets being legit, baby. No, but they had a 4-point loss to the Citadel. They got blown out of a lot of games. 6-point loss to Cornell just a few years ago when they had Reese Yadinsky and Jerry Rice, Seth Morgan, all these guys. Have the wide receiver was a stud too. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but this year Danny Rocco steps in and out the gate, getting the Davidson Wildcats. Now here's something that's going to be interesting. Davidson runs that option attack. The rule changes and giving Danny Rocco 1 month to prepare could make that game a little more interesting than we think, but I think we have to favor the Wildcats, correct?
Yeah, I'm on Davidson in that one. Could be interesting, but definitely Davidson.
Okay, then this is a big one here. You circle this one. In Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, VMI at Bucknell. I mean, this is one where you look, and this was their the win a season ago. They won by 10 last year against Bucknell. This is in Lexington, Virginia. This one's not this is in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. But this is winnable. This is certainly winnable. Dude, you know what's crazy? And I'm not projecting this, but getting a month to prep for the triple option or whatever they're calling this thing now, and then getting Bucknell, you could go 2-0 here, theoretically. I think probably 0-2, but it wouldn't shock me if they beat Bucknell. Bucknell was so bad on offense a year ago Danny Rocco's like actually, you know what? Give me a win at Bucknell.
Oh no.
What are you doing
No.
here?
Can't go against my Bucknell, man. Come on, no. I'm going with Bucknell. They got a soft spot in my heart. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take them to get it done, mostly because it is there in Pennsylvania. So, new coach, game 2. I still think there's going to be some adjustment. I'm going to go with Bucknell.
All right. Well, after that, they're at NC State. That will be a loss.
Agreed.
Then they're home to Wofford and Sean Watson. I know Sean Watson because he used to be Colorado's offensive coordinator back in the day. I mean, call me crazy, but they could go 3-1 to open the season, but I don't think they will. I think Wofford gets them. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, 2-2 is honestly pretty, close to being a 50-50 shot here for it to happen. But I do have Wofford getting the win. I think they're a little ahead of them, but it wouldn't be crazy for them to beat Bucknell or Wofford.
Well, now they go to Five Star Stadium in Macon, Georgia, take on the Mercer Bears. That will be a loss. So there's no way you got Mercer losing this, right?
No chance.
Okay. Well, then after this, it's challenging. You got a bye week, and you do have the rivalry game, the Military Classic of the South against the Citadel. That's at the Citadel. Once again, love the bye week because you get the prep for this. And once again, the NCAA rule changes. I'll say Citadel's going to win, but damn if this ain't going to be a field goal game.
Yeah, this is going to be a ball game, man. I mean, Bucknell, Wofford, Citadel, this is what we're talking about for VMI season as far as, the kind of the ceiling. But I do have them losing this one again on the road. Tough spot.
Yeah, and then they lose the rest of their games because now it gets really hard. Samford at home on October 21st, then Chattanooga. Then they head to Johnson City, Tennessee to take on East Tennessee State. Those are back-to-back away games. at East Tennessee State, and then the very next week to Paladin Stadium to take on Furman, who is going to be loaded this year, and then home to Western Carolina, the Catamounts. Look, I have this team. I know I just said 1 win. They could go to 2 or 3, maybe even 4, but I got them at 1-10, maybe 2-9. What are you doing? What's your final record for the Keydets?
Yeah, so I think the ceiling's 3. I got them at the floor, which is 0, unfortunately.
Okay, well, now let's jump over to team number 8 in our pecking order here. Very curious to see what you have with number 8, but I put the Citadel Bulldogs.
I knew we might be different here. I actually have the Wofford Terriers.
Oof. I think the rule change,
different dog breed.
Yeah. I think the rule changes are what scares me about the Citadel this year. I mean, talk to me about why you are. Well, actually, let's just go into the Citadel first. Then we'll go Wofford because just newsflash, they are my 7th ranked team. So the Citadel, though, they are a team that has to face these crazy rule changes. I feel like any service academy this year deserves kind of like an asterisk next to it when handicapping. You're also going to have the running clock going, right? And then, which I don't know if that helps. That might help them. I don't know. They're going to be running the ball at an unbelievable level. Last year they had 9 players that had 35 carries, but none reached 100. So Cooper Wallace is back on the offensive side of the ball. They were not a great offensive team. I mean, 4-7 a year ago. And here's the thing I will say is they probably were a little bit better than their record was last year. When you really think about it, but once again, they didn't have those rule changes. I don't know. What do you make? Tell me why you think the Citadel is better than Wofford.
Well, I think Drayton, the head coach, Maurice Drayton, is a really good hire. I think he spent the last 4 of his jobs were in the NFL. But I think he's going to turn out to be a pretty good hire. Citadel, good history. He got 4-time SoCon champs, 5 trips to the FCS playoffs. He's coming in. And what I like is they seem to be embracing the rule change. So you got NIU, Northern Illinois, 3-star transfer Dustin Fletcher coming in. So they're already embracing, okay, we're going to have to pass the ball. As well as the wide receivers. You lose Christian Hilton to OU. Ohio University, not Oklahoma, but he only had 285 yards, 2 touchdowns as a wide receiver, 1, so that's fine. Whatever. You bring in Malachi Taylor from Coastal Carolina, Dervin Pesnell from Campbell, tight end Patrick McSweeney from Coastal Carolina as well. All those guys, 3-star receiving targets. So I think they're embracing it. I think the defense has enough coming back. I think they're going to be okay. I don't have them doing great. Obviously, I have them as my 7th ranked team. But I think they're embracing it. I think they got the right coach.
I think the offensive side of the ball is my big question mark and why I picked them 8th. The defense, you're right. If anything, the defense, I see some guys. Hassan Black in the linebacking core is one. Also, Va Lea Matatafo. No, wait. I'm sorry. He's on my notes for Carolina. No. So no, but Carson Hatchett on the defensive line as well as Dominic Poole in the secondary. I don't know. I just feel like the defensive side of the ball might be sound, but the offense is going to have a ton of question marks. And then you add in a new coach to the wrinkle. Let's take a look at this guy. Another thing is the schedule. I had a note here. The schedule was fucking brutal. So start the season. Okay. Look, I really want the Citadel to win their first game of the season. I really want them to win against Georgia Southern, who used to be in the SoCon a long time ago. I don't think it's going to happen. And then they get the Campbells. And then they're at Chattanooga. First 3 games, I think, are all losses. I actually don't even think they'll be close. How about you?
I'll one up you. I think their first 5 games are losses, and I don't think any of them are close. Actually, 6.
I was about to say, I got 6.
6.
After that, they're at South Carolina State, then home to Western Carolina and at Furman. And to tell you the truth, man, I get it. They're hosting VMI, but that's a gauntlet. VMI is not going through as big as a gauntlet, so you might take some body blows. I'll stick to my guns and say Citadel beats VMI, but I think that game, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, hey, VMI is in a better situation when they play them probably. But then they have a bye week after that, and then they're at Samford, home to Mercer, home to Wofford, and at East Tennessee State. I got this team going 1-10 as well, but they have the tiebreaker on VMI, and that is why they are not dead last. What are you doing here?
So here's the deal, man. I got them losing at Samford out of the bye. I actually have them getting Mercer on a little bit of a huge upset after that. Mercer, Citadel is squashed right in between West Carolina on the road. Then Mercer goes to Citadel, second leg of a back-to-back road trip. They got Samford sitting on deck coming to Macon, Georgia the week after that. So interesting sandwich spot. One thing you don't have to worry about with service academies, you don't have to worry about the team quitting. These are teams with discipline. Military teams always have discipline. They kept it close with Mercer last year, 17-0. I think they keep it close again. It's homecoming. I think they catch them off guard. I have them beating Wofford as well, and then East Tennessee State University.
Whoa.
Not losing to East Tennessee State.
They're not losing to my Terriers. They're not losing to my Terriers. And I normally love the Citadel since Stump Mitchell, baby. But, okay, hold on. Let's talk about this because, okay, I was a Colorado fan back in the day. I am still a Colorado fan, but I thought that Sean Watson was a very good coordinator. It didn't, and I even thought when he jumped over to Pelini's Nebraska squad, or no, was I don't know if he was Pelini. He might have been Callahan. I thought he did a good job, but either way, I think he's a solid coach. And when you look at where he stepped in as the interim head coach, they went 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
They went 3-3. I think this guy can coach, and I also think I see a lot more promise. I actually think they might be a tougher out than they'll probably beat some teams we're not seeing. I thought the offensive line stood out to me as one of the better offensive lines, if not, like top 2 or 3. I feel like in the SoCon offensive line, Anthony Garcia along that offensive line, also the likes of Quincy Hughes. Tavion Gass, Jason Swan. I feel like they have one of the better offensive lines in the SoCon. And then you got Ryan Ingram to run behind that thing. I talked me into basically saying that I was high on Wofford because of that. Now, I also think like the defense side of the ball, okay. A little bit of questions in the secondary, I thought, but like some of the other spots with David Powers back at the linebacker spot, Jalen Marshall as well. Brandon Manaya on the defensive line. Same with Chuck Smith. No relation to the former Atlanta Falcon defensive end. But I think this team is better than the other two. I think there's actually a little bit of a gap.
Interesting. I mean, the quarterback situation completely up in the air. South Dakota State transfer Cade Rice coming in. And Bryce Corriston, they're in a quarterback battle. So there's that. Running back looking good. 2 coming back there. Wide receiver 1 last year, Landon Parker. He's gone. He transfers to Troy. I saw a lot of names coming off the board on defense. DB Tahir Amor, 3 fumbles recovered last year. Number 4 tackler. He's gone to Tulane. Michael Mason, defensive lineman, 7.5 sacks, transfers to Coastal Carolina. Defensive back Miles Richardson. He transfers to Austin Peay. So the names kind of coming off the board on a defense that was kind of shaky at points last year. So new head coach, I like the hire as well, but his one stint as head coach, Southern Illinois for 3 years, and he went 11-22. So I like the fact that he came in last year as an interim head coach, went 500 for a team that went 3-8 overall. He won the 3 games that they won.
Hang on. They had lost 15 straight before he took it.
Right.
Momentum going up.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Let's take a look at the schedule because I don't worry. And by the way, I think they returned their whole linebacking core as well. So I actually think they're going to be able to push Team 6 They might end up finishing 6th. Now they open up at Pitt, and they're going to get absolutely fucking destroyed.
Mhm.
The very next week, this is a terrible back-to-back way. They go to Williamsburg, where Mike London and the Tribe should beat the piss out of them as well. But this is where I see opportunity. They are home to the Blue Hose of Presbyterian. That is a guaranteed win for me. Guaranteed win.
There's a lot of Blue Hose fan out there that are really mad at you right now, man.
Then they're at VMI, which I think they get them. I think they're going to win both of those games, and they're going to be sitting there at 2-2 and hosting the Chattanooga Mocs. Watch out. That's all I'm saying. Watch out, Chattanooga. All right? Then they're home to Samford. Loss. At East Tennessee State. Circle that one because I think that is the one that's going to dictate who finishes 6th or 7th. 6th or 7th. And I think they're capable of grabbing that thing. Then they're at Mercer, which is a loss to me. They get a bye week, and they're home to Western Carolina. Homecoming could be a little sneaky, but I got the Catamounts favored. And then I have them beating the Citadel in Charleston there, and then home to Furman. So I have this team at 3 wins, potentially 4. What do you got them going?
Yeah, so I got them going 3-8. I have them getting wins over the Blue Hose. I do, Presbyterian. I have them beating VMI and losing at the Citadel, obviously. Ohio State, don't try to coin the word the. The Citadel is right in their name, so they get it. Screw you, Ohio State. But I do have them getting the win against Western Carolina for homecoming right out of the bye. Tricky spot for Western Carolina. I actually do really like the team. But they play them right before Chattanooga. So I do have them pulling off the upset against the Catamounts. I have them 3-8, 2-6 in conference.
Okay. Well, I'm curious who you have at 6.
I feel like we probably got the same team at 6. I got the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State.
Yeah, what happened to this program? Just a couple years ago, they were the FCS playoffs. I know they're legendary. They had a legendary coach retire, but man, last season, and you could make a case, man. Last season, East Tennessee State had a 3-point loss to the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
They had a one-score game, so that's 0-1 and 1-score games there. 0-2 when they lose to Chattanooga by 8, right? Then they lose to Wofford by 7, Western Carolina by 3. They kept it within 10 against Samford. They might have been a little bit better than what the record tells you. So when I look at the Buccaneers in 2023, I think I'm a little more optimistic on how they're seeing. That was really the deal for me. I was like, okay, I wanted to take Wofford over East Tennessee State. I really did. But then I thought, that was George Quarles' first year last year. You lose a lot of close games like that. You normally bounce back. If anything, they could be a sleeper in this conference, judging by how many close games in the first year of your system. So I'm curious your take on ETSU. I know that they got Tyler Riddle back at the quarterback spot, but they also brought in an Illinois State transfer in Timothy Dorsey. And when I look at this team, I mean, they do have a couple guys. I actually was somewhat impressed with the defensive side of the ball. I thought they had a couple guys like DeAndre Davis, Max Evans on the defensive line, Sheldon Arnold in the secondary. And I know they lost a guy in the portal, but talk to me about East Tennessee State and where you're at with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, so I really do like Quarles. I think he's going to be a really good fit here for this team moving forward. Another name I saw come in at quarterback is Baron May, former 3-star Eastern Michigan guy, transfers in. He's a dual threat quarterback, so you got that there. Wide receivers coming back pretty solid, even though they lose Isaiah Wilson. He transfers to Richmond. 5 of the top 6 targets from a year ago come back. The O-line, I'm a little worried now. They bring in 4 FBS transfers on the O-line, but none of them have a lot of experience. So the O-line is something that I was really having trouble wrapping my mind around. It could be really good, could be kind of shaky. Linebacker Chandler Martin, 94 tackles, 3.5 sacks. He transfers to Memphis to go hang out with Silver Flesh there. And then DB Elijah Huzzy, 13 passes defended, 6 interceptions. He transfers to Mac Brown's North Carolina team. So a couple big names gone there. One name I wanted to watch on defense. You hit a lot of the ones coming back that I thought are good. Watch out for defensive lineman Hot Rod Fitton. That's literally his nickname. I thought it was pretty awesome. I don't know. My girlfriend thought I was kind of stupid for laughing and thinking it was cool, but I thought it was a pretty sweet name. And I remember Hot Rod Williams in the NBA back in the day. So let's go. So I think this team has promise, but it was hard to get a read on where they're going to be at this year.
Yeah, and their schedule is interesting because they open up at Jacksonville State. That's a cool game. I think that's an interesting game because Jacksonville State plays that week 0 game. So Jacksonville State potentially could beat UTEP, which I think they will in week 0. First FBS win. I understand it's an advantage to get a week 0 game, but when it's your first ever FBS one, there might be a letdown spot with the Buccaneers coming to JSU Stadium there. After that, they get Carson Newman. I think they'll get that one. And then they take on the Governors. Love this game on the schedule. Right? Little Tennessee action. Then they get a bye. They're at Samford. Then they're home to Mercer. That's their first 5. What do you got them going in their first 5?
1-4, man. That's a tough first 5 to get. And 1-4.
I agree. But then they get Wofford, as I alluded to. 2, so that would be their second win for me. Then you got the rail rivalry against Chattanooga on October 21st. Man, I really could see East Tennessee State winning this game, but I took Chattanooga just by the field goal, man. I don't feel great about it. What'd you do here in the rail rivalry?
I did go with Chattanooga, a little bit more of a proven product right now, so that's the route I went with that.
All right, then they're at Furman, loss. Home to VMI, win, and then the Blue Ridge border battle against Western Carolina. I have that as a loss at E.J. Whitmer Stadium, and then they're home to the Citadel, which I have as a win. So when it's all said and done, I do have them with the same exact record as Wofford, but they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I got them at 4-7, 3-5 in conference, and while it's a pretty tough schedule, what you gotta kind of like about it is they get Wofford, VMI, and Citadel all at home, which is why, there wasn't much maneuverability with me for the teams lower, jumping above them. But I think this is a team I could be wrong about. But 6 for me, 4-7.
All right, at number 5, I have them at 6-2, and I have them same conference record as Wofford, or as Wofford, but they have the tiebreaker. So, but number 5 in the SoCon. I'm going to stay in the state of Tennessee. I have the Chattanooga Mocs at number 5. What do you have?
I knew we were going to be different here. I do have the Catamounts of Western Carolina.
The disrespect. I mean, buddy. Hold on. I get it. Okay. We're starting with Chattanooga here. I know Aleem Ford's back at the running back spot. Let's all, and this is a talented team. It's not like I think they're terrible. Sam Phillips back at the wide receiver spot. Who's good? I'm actually both receivers. Jamoy Mays is also solid as well. The tight end Jay Gibson, good. They are a complete team. Offensive line, Reed Williams. Jumped out to me. Bryce Goodner. Same with Colin Truitt. They're a good team. I think the Mocs are a good team. I even thought the defensive line, arguably the best defensive line in the whole entire conference, but might I add, with Jay Person, Ben Bruton, and Marlon Taylor. But what do we think about the quarterback situation here in old Chattanooga?
Very, very questionable. Butch Hutchinson, he's gone, so that definitely hurts. Luke Schomburg, he comes back, but he's going to be pushed a little bit. There's a battle going on. Looking like UCLA transfer Chase Artopoulos. I'm not really sure how to say that. Seems like something from maybe the movie 300 or Troy. Definitely very Greek sounding. He comes in from UCLA and he's pushing. It's looking like he might be quarterback 1 right now. So behind a pretty good offensive line, and you got a good running game with Ford that you talked about. Maybe a little bit smoother of a transition than some might think. Cameron Brown, the defensive back, comes back 5 passes defended, 6 interceptions. He's in there adding to that powerful defense that you were talking about. What I really like on defense, the 3 stars were flying in for this team. I mean, really like as in looking at it from the outside looking in. Who knows what's really going on? But you got Telly Plummer from Louisville transferring in, Chase Bishop from Ball State coming in, Jeremiah Batiste from Miami of Ohio, Cardavian Myers from Western Kentucky, also a linebacker Marquise Freeman coming in from Washington State, Cameron Brown, no relation to the other Cameron Brown, but he's a linebacker coming in from Auburn, and Shamar Jones, defensive lineman from Indiana. So they really tried to beef up that defense. I think, Terrell Owens is good old alumni here, wants to stay up and compete in this conference.
Oh, I love the TO reference.
Yeah, let's go.
Look, I think they're a good team, and I'm fascinated to watch. I'm fascinated to watch the SoCon. Once again, let's talk a little bit about the schedule here, because they open up at Bradley Municipal Stadium in Florence, Alabama, against North Alabama, who has a week 0 game. Now, North Alabama was ass last year. Brand new head coach coming in to the Lions. Could be sneaky getting that week 0 game, but I got Chattanooga starting out 1-0. How about you?
Same thing. I got them getting it done 1-0.
And then Kennesaw State comes to Finley Stadium. Kennesaw State jumping to the FBS next year. Call me crazy. 2-0.
I got them 2-0 as well. I almost wonder if Kennesaw State's going to kind of go the route that Sam Houston went, where they kind of, redshirted everybody in preparation for jumping up to the FBS. I'm curious if that's going to happen. I got Chattanooga here.
And then they're hosting the Citadel, which I got them 3-0. People are going to be dancing, doing backflips all throughout Chattanooga, right?
Agreed. 3-0, man.
And now it comes crashing down. At Samford, loss. At Wofford, upset special. I think I took Chattanooga to get it done, but I do think that's a dangerous game for them. Then they're home to Western Carolina for homecoming. That's a mistake. Don't put your homecoming against the Catamounts this year, because I'm high on the Catamounts. That is a loss in my mind, and I think they lose the following game at Mercer. So I have them sitting there at 4-3 heading into the rail rivalry on October 21st. How about yourself?
I got them 5-2 heading into the rail rivalry. I do have them losing to Samford, getting the win against Wofford. Western Carolina homecoming, I think that's enough motivation there to get it done. I think that game's going to be a shootout. So very interesting game. I'm excited for that one. But I think they get it done, and then they drop to Mercer.
So then they host East Tennessee State. Field goal win for me. 24-21 final. Chattanooga gets it. Then they're at VMI. Halloween weekend. So I got them getting 2 more wins. And then the Furman Paladins come to town. That's a loss. And then they get a bye week, and they head to Alabama. Fucking hilarious. But when it's all said and done, I do have them with 4 losses, 7-4, I think is what I got them going. Potentially 6-5. But what do you got? What's your final record for the mocks?
Yeah, I actually have them 7-4, 5-3 in conference. So very similar record. Now I'll tell you one thing. You better watch that Alabama game, and you better get some people to go to that game in Tuscaloosa, because Nick Saban's going to be pissed if people don't tune into that late season game against Chattanooga.
Yeah, fucking jackass with that. The spread's only 49 points. Why are we not selling this out? All right, look, let's hop over and talk about who we have at team number 4, or your team number 5, I should say. But before I do that, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience is brought to you by Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, sign up for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL Win Totals contest with $1,000 first place prize. And look, they won't just have, that's a season-long one, but there's also weekly contests where we're going to have as well, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast, completely ad-free and full of behind-the-scenes stories from SGPN. There's even a Discord channel just for the patrons. So only you can prevent corporate gambling. So do your part and sign up today. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. That's SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Patreon. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience. So wait, who did you have at number 5?
I had your Western Carolina Catamounts.
We're going to need to stop, because I had that one way higher. So here's what I want to talk about here. I want to talk about Kerwin Bell. All right. Kerwin Bell former Spurrier guy, right? Actually, I think he might have even been before Spurrier at Florida. But I remember him from playing in the CFL and the NFL and on the Orlando Thunder in the World Football League. When you can go watch those games on YouTube, folks, if you want to be a true maniac like me. But also, let's talk about what he did more recently in his coaching career, because let me tell you, buddy, he's building something. Let's go back to Jacksonville in the NAIA. For some stupid reason, Jacksonville ended their football program. Even though he comes in year one, goes 3-8, then 9-4 in year two, then 7-4, then 10-1, then 7-4, then 7-4, then a blemish of a 5-6 season, bounces back with the first place 9-2, follows that with another 9-2, and then bounces out to Valdosta State, where Valdosta State, he goes 8-3, then 5-4, then 14-0, and they win the national championship. Now he jumps over to Western Carolina, year one, 4-7, year two, 6-5, and now year three comes, and I really like what I see out of what they did. First off, let's talk about the transfer portal. Bringing in Jakari Starling from South Dakota, the Coyotes, and then Harvard quarterback Charlie Dean. I love this guy at Harvard last year. That's a huge get to me. Austin Peay linebacker Antoine Williams. Stud. They return star running back Desmond Reed. They have one of the best defensive backs in all the FCS and Andreas Keaton. Buddy, this team is going to be better than what people are thinking. Why do you have them so far back? Tell me. I want to know.
Yeah, I actually really do like the hire of Kerwin Bell, and I think this is about the time, this or next year, where you're going to see it really, really pop. Valdosta State, I mean, I feel like we've already talked about 4 coaches that won a national championship.
Mike
at that
Leach,
program.
Friend of the program,
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
That's number 5. So not taking anything away from him, obviously. And also, shame on you, Jacksonville. Get your football program back up and running. Let's go, Dolphins.
Come on.
Also, coming back at running back, too, Jalen Williams. I think he entered the portal. It looked like a lot of people thought he was gone from a lot of what I was seeing, but I'm seeing him on the roster page. And I think Jalen Williams, former 3-star Toledo running back, transferred in last year, and I think he's still there. So there you go. You lose Raphael Williams, wide receiver, to San Diego State. So Brady Hoke trying to air it out there, maybe adding a little weapon on offense. You hit a lot of the names on defense that I think are pretty good. Also, watch out for former 4-star recruit, transfers in from Akron, Curtis Ban Jr. on the defensive line. Looks really good. Man, my problem with this team and what I need to feel a little more comfortable with is the defense. I think the offense is all there.
Well, I can tell you this. On the defensive side of the ball, as I alluded to, Antoine Williams, stud. Andreas Keaton, stud. So Antoine Williams in that linebacking core. Keaton in the secondary. And this is the one, and also Hayward McQueen. I actually like the linebackers here. Now, I want to see more pressure on the quarterback from the defensive line. All I see is Micah Nelson. But in general, man, I think this team takes a big step. I think this is a big time year, and I think you got a lot of reason to be excited. Shout out to Weehawk. I'm waiting for the invite, Weehawk. I'm waiting for the invite. Let's talk about the schedule, because it is challenging, but I am bullish on this team. So week 1, when they head to War Memorial in Little Rock, Arkansas, they will lose, right?
No doubt.
But week 2, I see upset potential.
Oof.
I see upset potential in Cullowhee, North Carolina. I'll say this. Between week 2 and week 3, they're getting 1. They're not starting out 0-3.
So that's the thing, man. I kind of think Hiers is going to light them up, and then no rest for the wicked when you go play Eastern Kentucky, the Colonels, either. So I think that's a really, really rough start to the season. I think it's 0-3.
1-2, they take down Samford. They get Samford, and they probably do lose at Roy Kidd Stadium, but I still think that's a winnable game. 1-2, and then they're hosting Charleston Southern. They're breaking in a new head coach. It's still September. That's my second win. I got them beating the Citadel as my third win, and they're going to ride that momentum into Finley Stadium and beat Chattanooga as a 4th win. What do you have them going at the bye on October 14th?
So I have him taking down Charleston Southern and the Citadel as well. But here's the thing. I mean, you are the inventor of the statistic about the back-to-back away games, and that's what that is going up against Chattanooga, who I think they're pretty close with. They beat them last year, very close game, 3-point game. I think it's tall order for two similar teams, and you're playing on the road for a second week in a row. I got them dropping to Chattanooga.
They come out of the bye week and look, the back-to-back away thing is a true thing, but that was the FBS. I don't know about the FCS. I got to dive deep into the FCS one, but I do like the bye week before Furman. Now, I kind of think Furman is the clear-cut favorite in this conference. I'll take Furman, but I do enjoy the bye week to get, razor-sharp focused. Or laser sharp. Is it laser sharp focused or razor sharp? I don't know.
However sharp you want to be, man.
Yeah. But anyway, they're going to upset Mercer after Furman on homecoming because it's going to be a party in North Carolina. And then they're going into Wofford and getting it done. And then they're winning the Blue Ridge battle against East Tennessee State and beating VMI. When I look at this, when it's all said and done, I got them as an 8-3 team playing in the FCS playoffs.
I got them 6-5, 5-3 in conference. I have an upset happening. It's a little different than yours. Straight out of the bye week, I got them getting Furman, losing homecoming, a little letdown spot after that against Mercer, winning the last 3 games. So 6-5, 5-3 in conference.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see this because, I had them a lot higher. So to let you know, you know who I had at 4? At 4, I had good old Mercer. Where did you have Mercer? 3?
That is my number 3, sir. Yes.
Okay, so we're not far off on Mercer, but let's talk a little bit about the Bears because Mercer, is a team that I think I watched them a lot last season. Their run game was good. Al Wooten the second, he's there. You should be excited about that if you're a Bear fan, but also Ty James and Devron Harper, studs on the wideout position. Defensively, they stood out as I thought a decent defensive line too, with Savio Frazier, Solomon Zubaru, and Chris Hill. I think they have one of the better defensive lines in the conference too. The problem is I don't know if I can trust them to. One of the things that jumped out to me about Mercer was the schedule. I think the out of conference schedule is not bad, but I think getting at Furman and at Western Carolina was to me where I thought losses. So talk to me about the Mercer Bears and what you saw from this team.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to do first before I talked about this team, I wanted to shout out somebody that reached out to me on Twitter at Bart Harris. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, Heres. He is actually a Furman alumni, played and coached there from 78 to 84. His son played offensive line for Mercer from 2013 to 2015. So those were 2 teams that he kind of keyed in on.
Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Loves Furman. He's a little concerned about the offensive line play, and I saw the same thing for Mercer. A little bit troubling when you're going to have a new quarterback there, and also the running back depth. They bring back Al Wooten, as you said. They lose their next 2 top running backs, Brandon Marshall and Justin Coleman. However, Austin Douglas is supposed to be back, according to most things I was seeing. Phil Steele being one of them, a friend of the program you guys got over there for sure. So that's awesome, but I did not see him on the team roster page, so I don't know if that's a late development. Got to watch out for Charlotte 3-star running back transfer Micah Bell, though. I think that's going to play huge into this if he pans out. Very interesting team, Mercer. Lots going to hinge on what they find at quarterback. Hess Horn comes in from Missouri State. He's a transfer this year. He was a 3-star high school recruit. Had some interest from some Power 5 teams. Got an offer from South Alabama, went to Missouri State, now transfers into Mercer. So very interesting to see what happens there. And shout out to Bart Harris. Love the input. Thank you very much.
That is fantastic. Shout out to him. That's awesome.
He's not tuned in though. It's date night with the wife. We'll give him a pass.
Look, he knows how to win games. All right. And some say marriage can be a game too. You know how to win that thing. You punt on a SoCon preview because you gotta save your days off. I can speak as a married guy. You gotta save your days off for the game viewing. You know what I mean? For watching the games and cooking out stuff like that. All right. Well, look. So I have Western Carolina as my number 2 team in this conference, not 3, 2. At number 3, I had Samford, who I love. I love Samford. Coach Leach ties. But I just thought, first off, I really think it's top heavy, this conference, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But obviously, if you watch Samford a couple of years ago, I remember they put up like 50 on Florida at the Swamp, and that was Michael Hiers at quarterback. That dude's a fucking stud. He's a stud. But I also think they're always susceptible. The offense will fly. It's going to fly. It flies every year. DJ Rios at the wide receiver spot, Chandler Smith. They have guys. It will fly. I don't question that, but I always feel like they get bit by a team or two that they shouldn't. So that is why I kind of thought, okay, and the defense is solid. I think the defense is probably better than what you think coming into it. I like I noted that the defensive line might be better than it with Joseph Mara and Jamal Thompson. They might be better than it's been previously. Talk to me about Samford and what you got. Where'd you have them, by the way?
Samford, I got at number 1, man. I think you got one of the best football quarterbacks in all of FCS football. So there's something for you right there. You're talking about the alumni, the school that Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Bowden went to. So you got to love that. They brought in a quarterback from Kentucky, Nick Scalzo, to back up Hiers. So I really like that. You got some weapons coming back in the running back position and wide receiver that you talked about. Noah Martin, linebacker, coming back, leading tackler, 86 tackles, an interception as well. Cortland Marsh, a defensive back in the secondary that's just going to light things up. 11 passes defended, an interception last year. Safety Midnight Stewart back as well. You talked about Jamal Thompson. Johnny Johnson, 3.5 sacks. He comes back. And then you bring in 3-star transfer safety Tyrese Ross from South Carolina. Defensive back Isaiah Watson from EMU, Eastern Michigan. Linebacker Kylan Miller from Coastal Carolina, another 3-star. There's names on this team. They address the defense a little bit, which I like. I think this team's going to be just as good, and it always helps to have one of the best quarterbacks in the entire game. So let's do it.
You ready for this nugget right here? 6-0 in games 10 points or less. That's not sustainable. That is not sustainable. All right. And that is why I had them 3rd. I think they're going to be an FCS playoff team. I think SoCon, I got 3 teams for sure jumping into the FCS playoffs. But let's talk about the schedule, because out the gate on a Thursday night, Homewood, Alabama, I think they take down the Shorter Hawks. And then I love this matchup. September 9th, Samford at Western Carolina. That's a fantastic, and that's back-to-back away games because they play out of Auburn the very next week. I do have them losing both of those. So I got them going 1-2, and then I got them beaten. Then they get hot. They beat Chattanooga, East Tennessee State, and Wofford to get back to 4-2. And then I have the Paladins of Furman winning in Homewood, Alabama. And then I have Samford winning the final 4 games of the season. Maybe the Mercer game could be sneaky, but what do you got them doing schedule wise?
Yeah, so I think it's huge that you get Furman and Chattanooga at home. The Furman game is what this entire conference came down to me. They get them at home. I got them getting the win in that one. It's sandwiched in between Wofford and VMI. So not a tricky spot there. They're going to be ready for that one. I do have them dropping the Mercer game towards the end of the year. I think being there at Mercer, that's a tough spot for a team that took you 2 overtimes to beat last year. So that's a little bit of a revenge spot for the Bears. But overall, 9-2, 7-1 in conference.
Yeah, and I don't know. This is going to be fun. Because I think the clear-cut first-ranked team should be Furman. Tyler Huff is back at the quarterback spot. Did you have Furman? You had Furman second then, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just thought Furman, what they were able to accomplish in the portal, bringing in some guys, I thought really had me convinced that they could be. I mean, I actually think they could actually make a deep run in the FCS playoffs this year. I don't know how they lost that game to Incarnate Word a year ago, but they bring back Dominic Roberto, 1,000-yard rusher, and I think that is a very good get, or a very good thing to have, not a very good get. But no, I just think Clay Hendricks' team's been building for this, and some of those additions that they did in the portal, I think the offensive line is going to be the strongest in the conference. And I don't know. I mean, I can go position by position here and say, well, okay, love the linebacker play with Braden Gilby. The secondary's got a couple guys. I think they actually have the best secondary to me in the whole SoCon with Hugh Ryan, Travis Blackshear, Cam Brinson, Micah Robinson. I think they're the clear-cut best secondary. So I just think there's too many good pieces here. Like the wide receiver position, Joshua Harris is a stud. And like I said, I think the O-line is among the tops in the conference. So that's my logic there. Talk to me about your opinion of the Paladins, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's nothing. You hit pretty much all the names. There's nothing you can look at this team and say they don't have. They bring everything back from a team that went 9-2 in the regular season last year. So how could you hate on this team? I think this is an FCS playoff team. I think this is a dangerous playoff team that you need to watch. That the entire thing it came down to for me is that they're on the road against Samford, and that's really it. So I don't have much more of a breakdown. You gave it all. They're stacked. This team's stacked.
I think they could be a dangerous play at South Carolina.
I agree.
Watch out, Spencer Rattler. Now, let's talk about the schedule because they do have 2 back-to-back away spots. And if we're going to talk about that, home to Tennessee Tech Thursday night, August 31st. That's right around the corner. I can't wait to watch that one. Jeremiah Oatsfall no longer with the Golden Eagles. Then they head to Williams-Brice to take on the Gamecocks. And it's a sneaky spot for South Carolina because Georgia's on deck. So it's a great look-ahead spot. If they could, little brother getting a shot at big brother. Then they head to take on Kennesaw State. I think they should have no problems. They're really just a South Carolina game. They host Mercer. They get a bye after that. And then, as you alluded to, they come out of it. They get the Citadel, no problem. Then at Samford. Now, you have them. See, I think they're going to be razor focused for that because I think they're going to blow out the Citadel. I think that bye week, they're focusing on Samford, not the Citadel, right? And then the back-to-back away spot at E.J. Whitmire Stadium is dangerous to me. Dangerous because imagine if they beat Samford. You want to talk about Kerwin Bell having a perfect setup to knock off the Paladins. That could be it. And then you have East Tennessee State and then at Chattanooga. It is a tricky road schedule. Depending on how you look at it, you could say that Samford, Western Carolina, and Chattanooga could be the next 3 best teams. I know Mercer's in there too, but you got to go to all 3 spots on the road. But I just think they're the best actual roster, and that's why I have Furman finishing first. I think they're only going to drop 1 or 2 games this whole season. I expect them to be in the FCS playoffs. The question is how many teams are coming in to the FCS playoffs out of this conference, you think?
I think there's definitely 3. 4 is a possibility. I think 3 is the number, and the third team is just the question. Is it Mercer? Is it Chattanooga? Is it Western Carolina? Because I think Samford and Furman are damn near guaranteed.
Yeah. Folks, it's going to be absolutely fantastic to watch. I love the differences we had here. And look, we're the season kicks in 7 days, 8 days. If you're watching this live on YouTube right now, so get on over there, check out all of our previews. We're gonna sneak in the Big Sky and next Friday. So Big Sky, we're aiming for now. I am in Los Angeles, and there's a fucking hurricane. Surprisingly, that hasn't happened in 100 years. Planned. So we're gonna try to get the Big Sky in on Tuesday. If that does not happen, that might change. But Friday, we're aiming to get the Missouri Valley done right before the season kicks on Saturday. But go listen to all of our previews. I cannot wait for the season. And make sure you give Mike a follow here on Twitter at GCG_wins. You'll see it right now if you're on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Remember also sg.pn/FCS is what you need to subscribe. We're on spot, any place you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, check us out. But yes, Mike's on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it, at GCG_wins. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The FCS College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Subscribe, tell a friend, folks. Also, I host the FBS show, the College Football Experience. Subscribe to that. Also, the College Basketball Experience. We love the SoCon. I watch a heavy amount of SoCon football and basketball. So when the college basketball season tips, SoCon fans, hop on over there, subscribe, because every single night of the season I talk college hoops and I focus heavily on the SoCon. Also, check out the College Baseball Experience with myself and Noah Beanick. And now we have the Big 12 Experience for all things Big 12 sports related. So check out that if you like the Big 12. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Folks, that's our show. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. And come talk SoCon sports with us in the Discord. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Until next time, this is the College Football Experience, SoCon style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.